So today we're here with my favorite human being, Aryan D'Rozario, who is, in my opinion, one of the sassiest, coolest, and the most brainy of us all. He is a very old and dear friend of mine, and he's recently graduated from Oxford. And his thesis is what intrigues me the most, which is on the Khan market crowd and the elite of Delhi and clubbability that we all actually don't know about. Most of us.
Quite right. And thank you for that very warm and over-the-top introduction.
It's not over.
I didn't know that lawyers can also be so generous with their compliments.
We can when we have something to gain.
Well, I hope you do gain from this interview. I hope I gain. I think.
Hopefully, it's my first ever podcast, and I'm starting with you, Aryan.
And what is your first question?
First question is why your thesis? Why clubbability and why Khan market?
That's a really interesting question, and I think it goes back to a book I read, written by Atish Tasir. It was called The Twice Born. And in that book, Atish, it has multiple themes, but one of the themes that really I was attracted to was the theme of his identity, about being a very privileged Indian who grew up in Delhi with a family who lived in the Lutyens zone. He went to the best schools in the country. He was friends with politicians, journalists, businessmen, actors. And then suddenly, fast forward to the India of 2014, where all of these aspirations are no longer what they used to be. Now you have political parties criticizing, elitism, criticizing colonial relics, criticizing the past, and looking for a more aspirational future for India's middle class.
What's this aspiration exactly?
I think it's an aspiration that all Indians should be able to have the opportunity to do well, to be able to succeed, to be able to live in the best zip codes that Delhi and Bombay has to offer. And I think Modi really speaks to that aspiration. That's the reason, one of the reasons he's so popular. The chai wala who became India's prime minister.
So the relatability, like you can relate to that man and that figure.
I think so.
So this colonial past that we have, is there something that should be completely, boycotted, or like it should be embraced or aspired to be a part of?
Well, I think boycott is a very strong word. You can't boycott something that has affected our country so deeply. The fact that we're sitting here speaking in English instead of in Hindi means that we are relics of the past.
You're reminding me of Mr. Tharoor right now.
Am I reminding you of Mr. Tharoor?
You've met him quite a few times.
I have met him quite a few times, and I think he would agree with me when I say that there are some things that colonialism gave us that we have used to our advantage, even though they weren't given to us with the hope that they would be of advantage to us.
The English language, for example.
Yes, I think the British introduced the English language to create a class of Indians who could communicate with the rest of the country what the British wanted to do with India.
So you think there's any advantage to now, well, everybody speaks in English now, but do you think we should embrace Hindi more or any other regional language?
No, I don't think that we should embrace one regional language over the other. The fact that we have used English for the last 70 years is proof that it is a very good bridge language to be used between people who don't speak Hindi in this country. Hindi is only spoken by mostly North India. In the South, Hindi imposition is a very big topic that they're against.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So wait, you studied in the US and then you studied in the UK.
Yes.
And now you're going back to Washington, D.C. because you have a job there now.
Yes.
In policy?
In policy, yes.
And what do you gain from that? Like, what do you aspire to be after that? Because I know how much your Indianness means to you, your nationality means to you, and just overall your academic life has been centered around India and Indians. So now why DC?
Well, I think it was an offer I couldn't refuse. It's only a 12-month opportunity, and I have applied for PhDs because I do want to expand my academic horizons, and so I thought this would be something good to do in between. And Washington DC is a lovely city. It's like Delhi. It actually reminds me a lot of Delhi.
Indians are just as respected now in academia when it comes to like comparing us to, say, Americans from Harvard or Oxford, again, going to the US and, being on par? Do they see us as,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Indians are extremely intelligent people and we are represented in some of the best universities in the world.
But isn't there like some sort of a stigma attached or a stereotype that we're kind of like wannabe white people now?
No, I don't think so at all. I think most Indians you meet today abroad are very proud of their heritage. They're very proud of being Indian. And I think other people realize that Indians are extremely hardworking, extremely intelligent, and extremely ambitious. And many universities across the world have Indian students among their ranks, and those Indian students outperform more or less everyone.
So would you consider yourself to be a privileged boy growing up?
I think so. I mean, I think it's something that I have often asked myself, and you can't deny your privilege. I think denying your privilege is not very good. You should accept it and you should try and learn from it.
And people who make fun of people who are privileged, like, on YouTube, there are these videos which, make fun of the stereotypical South Delhi girls and boys, and, they mock, well, I'm a South Delhi girl, you're a South Delhi boy, and we're kind of like the topic of banter and mockery wherever we go in the world. Like, I know this one American fellow who like saw me, asked me where I was from, and then I said, okay, I'm from Sanic Farms, and he said, look, okay, that's in South Delhi, right? And then I said, well, yeah. And then that fear comes in that, okay, what is this person going to think of me? Is he going to think of me as a spoiled brat, or like somebody who's, say, like spoiled and misuses their privilege every now and then?
Well, I mean, Hansika, you're a lawyer, so it's called free speech. And
what do you think of free speech in this country now?
Free speech in this country? Well, I wouldn't call it.
I mean, I'm kind of censoring whatever I want to say because I'm kind of afraid of the
Please don't be scared of me, at least.
I want this podcast to work.
I think this, and it definitely will. I think free speech is one of those delicate subjects here in India that when it's convenient, it's free. When it's not convenient, keep your mouth shut. That's unfortunately, and that's been the case in India since independence. I mean, even under Nehru, we had instances of people not being allowed to say what they wanted to say. We have instances even today in West Bengal.
So who do you think can get away with whatever they want to say? Like, what class do you need to belong to be able to, like, say whatever you want and not care?
Rich and powerful.
And who are the rich and powerful?
Who are the rich and powerful? Now that's a difficult question. I think I don't want to upset anyone.
See, that's what I mean
by
freedom of speech.
But I think the rich and powerful could include politicians. It could include big businessmen. Mm-hmm. Journalists certainly are not covered under the rich and powerful, because unfortunately journalists in this country are not paid as well as journalists abroad. Yeah. And they don't really have the protections or the rights that journalists abroad have. I mean, so many journalists, it's
you know quite a few.
I do know quite a few journalists in this country.
What do they say about the situation?
I mean, I think it really depends who you ask. A lot of news channels do have good funding.
But now I don't think after, a recent episode that happened with a recent takeover, do we still have any free media or like liberal media, somebody who's not bought?
The problem is, look at the US. In the US, if a big businessman like Jeff Bezos owns a newspaper, no one is going to criticize that newspaper of being, partisan. Because businessmen in America don't need to pander to the government all the time. Yeah. But in India, it's different. In India, when a businessman wants to set up a factory, he needs to deal with politicians, he needs to deal with bureaucrats. And if that same businessman owns a news channel, well, the chances are that news channel is going to be favorable to the people their boss wants to impress.
Do you meet people like that at DGC that your thesis was centered around?
No, absolutely. I think,
You interviewed 16 people, right?
I did. I interviewed 16 people for my master's dissertation, and my dissertation was on a colonial era club in Delhi. It was on the Delhi Golf Club, a club that I know extremely well, intimately well, I would say, because I was born and really raised in that space. And I think the people who are members of these clubs do come from important stratas of Delhi society. We have journalists, businessmen, civil servants, politicians. When I look at these people socializing in a space, I think, wow, there's actually not much that we disagree on, even though we may belong to different political parties.
Is that something that's wanted in today's time? Say, like, okay, based on meritocracy, like people are doing well. I mean, maybe their ancestors did not, and I think that's one of the, reasons why people want to go to DGC. Their grandfathers went, their great-grandfathers were members after the British left it to us. And there's kind of like this air of snobbish. Like, I don't know, are they a bit snobbish, these members?
No, I don't think so. I think you're confusing members of these institutions with what you could call the new rich. The new rich of Delhi society.
But don't you think the new rich could also be classy enough to be part of these institutions, or even add value to such institutions, but they're usually not taken in? I mean, what's the waiting like?
I mean, 30, 40 years.
Probably. So if by the time a 30-year-old applies,
we'll be 60.
Is there any point to that then?
Well, I mean, a lot of people do apply. I know a lot of people our age who have applied right now because they think that when they retire, they will get it. And so they could spend their retirement years, playing golf or swimming or playing tennis at Gymkhana, things like that. And I mean, I think it's extremely aspirational to be a member of certain spaces in Delhi, but it's also at the same time politically problematic.
Yeah.
I mean, these clubs have faced the brunt of political criticism over the years. Members of both parties, both of the main parties, the BJP and the Congress, have criticized these spaces.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very difficult for the government to actually do anything about it. At the same time, politicians are members of these spaces.
So you interviewed 16. Share some funny stories.
Share some funny stories. Oh, well. I mean, I think, my questions were extremely provocative.
Like?
They were provocative and probing in the sense that one of my questions was, do you consider yourself an elite? Or do you consider yourself a member of the Khan Market gang?
What's the Khan Market gang?
Well, I don't know. I think I can best describe the Khan Market gang by maybe quoting a very famous author, Pankaj Mishra, who says that Delhi is full of rootless cosmopolitans.
Ooh.
That all of these people who frequent Khan Market are people who have too much money.
Dude, I go there a lot.
And
We go there a lot.
We go there a lot. Absolutely, because it's a lovely market.
Yeah, exactly.
Ansika, it has lovely restaurants.
Ruthless.
And let me be quite frank. I mean, I've seen plenty of BJP people also in Khan Market. I've seen Mr.
You're calling them ruthless?
I'm not calling them rootless. I'm not calling them cosmopolitans. I'm calling them people who enjoy the food and the shopping at Khan Market. It's a lovely market in Delhi.
And why do you think it's so expensive to have a store there?
Because of where it is. I mean, it's in the Lutyens zone. It's famous all over the country. Everyone wants to go there.
Why is that address so coveted? What exactly do you gain out of that? Really, what do you gain out of that?
It really depends who you are. I mean, I think politicians want to live in the Lutyens zone because that is the seat of power in India. Big businessmen like the Ambanis, the Dalmias, all of them, they have a lot of money and so they can afford to buy homes in that area. And it's just a matter of prestige. Mm-hmm. They want to be prestigious, they want to live in a certain lifestyle, and so the Lutyens zone is very attractive to them.
So tell me something. I was reading your thesis earlier today and I realized that you used the Santa Banta joke. What was that?
Oh, the Santa Banta joke.
How did the Oxford professors take the Santa Banta joke?
Well, I mean, I don't think many academics quote Santa Banta in their academic papers, but in this instance, I thought it was extremely well placed. The joke was in 2014, Tiger Woods came to Delhi and he was invited by the Delhi Golf Club to play on the course. And, Santa Banta were having this joke that was published in, I think, the Mint. And, Santa is like, TW is in town, and Banta is like, who's TW? And then Santa says, oh, Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And he says, what is he doing in Delhi? And then Santa says, oh, he has an engagement. He's engaged at the Delhi Golf Club. And then Banta says, engaged? What a funny place to have an engagement party. And then Santa says, no, you fool. He's going there to play golf. And the committee members of the DGC sent the invitation with a couple of $1 million so that they wouldn't get a no as an answer from Tiger Woods. And I thought that joke was very well placed because it showed a couple of things. One, that the DGC is world renowned. It is one of India's best golf courses. Everyone from all over the world wants to play on that golf course. And two, it's an extremely rich club in the sense that the members are extremely rich. The club in itself has a lot of money. And so they can send an invitation with a couple of $1 million to Tiger Woods. Even though that was not the case, I'm pretty sure that Mr. Woods did not receive a couple of $1 million to play on the Delhi Golf Club. But that was just a joke, and I thought it was an interesting joke.
So I forgot to mention how chic you look tonight.
Thank you very much. I when I was told that I was coming as your guest, I said, oh my God,
Me?
I need to really dress to impress. Because
oh my God.
I knew that you would be dressed in a very chic way, which you are.
Well, that's...
And so I had to, go above and beyond. I couldn't just come in a tracksuit now, could I?
No, but seriously, are you an aspiring politician?
An aspiring politician, oh my God, I've already, I think, been through that phase in my life and decided that it's not.
I don't think a lot of people know how we met.
No, actually we met through...
At a rally. Let's not say which rally.
We won't say which rally, but we
political rally.
We met through politics, yes, and then we both decided, I think, at about the same time that...
It's
not for us.
Yeah.
I think I'll let Rahul Gandhi lead the way. I'll let Narendra Modi lead the way.
Yes.
I mean, these are the politicians that our country has chosen.
We're better off just watching and observing.
No, I think watching and observing is one thing. Voting is the most important thing. I think we are better off voting and making our voices heard.
True. So wait, would you say that some politicians could take heed from how you dress and be taken more seriously on international events and bring their sass with them? Because I've seen Italian ministers and how they dress, even the women actually, and how they dress,
Well, I think I would think of one Indian politician who dresses extremely well, extremely appropriately, is Subramaniam Jayashankar, the External Affairs Minister.
You have to be a diplomat, but I'm talking about the grassroots and
You're talking about the Bharat Jodo Yatra. That's what's happening right now.
Here. I'm just saying that they could definitely take heed from you. And why don't you start your own start styling them?
I think there's been a lot of controversy recently about the way Rahul Gandhi dresses. He's walking around in that half-sleeve shirt in 7 degrees Delhi weather, and everyone is, the Congress politicians are saying he's a superhero. The BJP politicians are saying, no, he's wearing a vest underneath. I mean, these are not really important things to talk about. I think what I would suggest to Mr. Gandhi and
to wear a tiranga in your pocket, right?
No, I would say,
I love that though.
Thank you. I would say to dress the part.
Yeah.
Look at Mr. Modi, the way he dresses, it speaks to rural India.
Yeah.
The way Mr. Gandhi dresses, and I know why he dresses the way he does. Because his view is that if he wears a shirt and a pant, he's going to be attractive.
To the Khan market crowd?
No, not to the Khan market crowd, the aspirational Indian middle class. The common man on the street no longer wears kurta, pajamas or dhotis. Yeah. They wear, shirts and pants. And that's what Rahul Gandhi is trying to do, but I don't think it's working. I don't think it's working very well. I think people expect our politicians to dress in a certain way, to speak in a certain way, and to look a certain way.
I mean, if he's trying to be who he is and be comfortable,
But look at his mother. Have you ever seen Sonia Gandhi wearing Western clothing?
Not that I can remember, no.
She only wears saris. Yeah. And I
love saris. I love wearing saris whenever I can, and I wish I could wear them more.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm not a politician.
But she is, and she carries herself with grace and poise, and I've had the pleasure of meeting her, and she is a wonderful person to talk to. And the sari just gives her that energy and that vibe that's very,
I mean, it's a sign
you know,
of our national. I mean, it's a national identity of ours.
it's a sign of our national pride.
Yeah, it
You know?
came out of the freedom struggle.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So let me ask you again.
Hmm.
What did Oxford give you that any other Indian institution could not?
I think it gave me two things. One, it gave me the space to study what I wanted to study, to do what I wanted to do. And the second thing, it gave me a network. I think elite institutions like Oxford and Harvard are very much overrated academically.
Yeah.
Because the course you take at Oxford,
It's the network.
you could take a course at another university with another professor, it would be just as good. But the advantage of being at a university like Oxford or Harvard is that it gives you a network of other people, of other professors, of other guests who come to this university that you could interact with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You know, when I was at Oxford, I played host to the finance minister of Tamil Nadu, Mr. Rajan, who had come, and he was most gracious because he knew that we were all students from Oxford. He treated us like adults, and we had a fantastic conversation with him. I'm still in touch with people he works with today. But other universities don't attract the same level of people to come and speak.
I guess there'll always be a divide like that, whether it be in cities or universities.
Well, I think someone really needs to write a book on Ashoka University.
Oh my God.
Here in Delhi.
Let it be there for a few years.
The psyche of Ashoka and what Ashoka students, how they are, how they behave.
Brats?
I wouldn't say brats. I mean, I think, we know a lot of Ashoka people. Hansika, are you calling our friend group brats?
No, I don't associate with a lot of people from Ashoka. You do. I'm
I do.
antisocial. I don't know anyone.
Well, Ashoka is a fantastic university. It has fantastic faculty. And it has fantastic students also. It's produced really good students.
True. Yes, that's true.
So I think places like Ashoka are the next Harvard and Oxford of India.
I hope so. So, how does one get into Oxford?
How does one get into Oxford? Make sure you have really good grades.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a very high GPA or grade point average or whatever it is that your university.
Nothing that makes you stand out like you do in the US.
I think having written a book doesn't hurt. Having won a few tournaments in some sport doesn't hurt. But really what Oxford is looking for is academically gifted people. Let's be quite honest. And internships. Internships are really important. Do as much internships, as much work experience as you can. Because that's something that a university is looking for. Is this individual someone who's already trying to be the best version of themselves? Or are they someone who just got good grades and never did anything else with their life?
That's true.
They want well-rounded individuals.
Yeah, I guess that's where it's different here in, say, Delhi University.
Delhi University, you just need 99.8%.
And how many people get that? That's
quite a few now. There's a lot of
exactly.
competition. I know so many gifted students who have been rejected from Stephens and Hindu and a lot of these universities all over India, even though they had 99%. I think our education system needs a little bit of a touch-up.
You really need to enter some form of administrative services here.
Oh gosh, well, that's certainly.
We need you, Aryan.
I certainly admire the people who work for our civil services. They do a lot for us.
Yeah, but we also need someone like you.
Thank you. I think we need someone like you to interview more civil servants.
Maybe, perhaps.
Yeah. Ask probing questions. Probing and incisive.
I'll get your backing on that.
Absolutely. You have my backing all the way.
So tell me something. Let's just end the podcast on this. One last question I have. That is it worth it? Let's go back to how we started. The class divide and the aspirational middle class of India. Should they really be aspiring for it? Now that you've seen it all. Yes or no?
There's a lot to aspire for in India. And I think politicians who feed into that aspirational sense here in India do well politically. Because Indians, you have to think about it, Indians are no longer living in the pre-liberalization world. our economy is open. Indians want to watch Netflix. They want to travel abroad. They want to shop in Dubai. They want to, eat expensive food. They want to go to expensive restaurants because Indians are doing well. They have a lot of money. And so I think the aspiration should always be there.
Sure.
And wherever there's an aspiration, there's a business opportunity. And I think a lot of people are going to tap into the new Indian middle class and really try and create a new India.
That's true. That's true. Well, towards a new India then.
Towards a new India and hopefully towards a new Delhi that's less polluted and less bleak.
Let's hope for that.
Let's hope this city survives another 50 years.
Yes, it shall. I hope so.
I hope so too.
Well, let's just hope, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
For coming.
Thank you for having me.
And I am so grateful.
I am
so
very
so
grateful to be here. Thank you so much.